Shalom, it's Joanna here to talk about Melchizedek and Jesus as a priest king. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, pause the video now and read Hebrews chapter 6 verse 13 to 8 verse 13. I put it in the sidebar. There are some critical errors in this passage I want to address. First, who was Melchizedek? According to Hebrews, he was like unto the Son of God. This is not supported by the Tanakh. This idea is made up by the author of Hebrews. The historical Melchizedek appears in Genesis chapter 14. Abraham's nephew Lot was living in Sodom, and some Edomite kings attacked the city. Abraham went and settled the score with those kings, freed the captives, and rescued the spoils. On his way back, he was met by a party of thankful kings, one of whom was Melchizedek of Salem. Let's read Genesis 14:17-20. When he returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, which is the valley of the king. And King Melchizedek of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God Most High. And he blessed Abraham, saying, Blessed be Abraham of God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your foes into your hand. This is the whole account of Melchizedek. So what can we learn from this, and what can we learn from his prayer? First, we see that he was a king of Salem, which later became Jerusalem. Since the city of Jerusalem was controlled by Jebusites, I don't think it's unfair to guess that he was an early Jebusite. Another opinion is that he was Shem, the son of Noah. In any case, getting back to the text, we see he was a priest of God. The writer of Hebrews mistakenly indicates that Melchizedek had a special priesthood complete with sacrifices. Hebrews chapter 7 verses 26-28. However, Melchizedek is not seen as offering any sacrifices, although the custom was in practice at the time, as shown through Abraham's sacrifices both before meeting Melchizedek in Genesis 13 verse 18 and after in Genesis 15 verse 9-13. Melchizedek is not seen as offering any sacrifices, nor did anyone else in the chapter. So what kind of priest was he? Let's take into account that Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, is also called a priest in Exodus 3:1, and he didn't offer any sacrifices in the tabernacle. Also, the entire people of Israel are called a kingdom of priests in Exodus 19 verse 6. They also are not seen as offering sacrifices. It's only the priests, the Kohanim, that can offer sacrifices. So a priest is not necessarily one who offers sacrifices in a prescribed manner, as the writer of Hebrews implies. So what was Melchizedek's priesthood? Let's look at the other place where he's mentioned, Psalm 110 verses 4-7. The Lord has sworn and will not relent. You are a priest forever, rightful king by my decree, or after the manner of Melchizedek. The Lord is at your right hand. He crushes kings in the day of his anger. He works judgment upon the nations, heaping up bodies, crushing heads far and wide. He drinks from the streams on his way. Therefore he holds his head high. So both in Genesis and here in Psalms, the only two times in the Bible that Melchizedek is mentioned, he's mentioned in the context of victory in battle, crushing kings, and working judgment. It's not in the context of a pacifist who said, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, as John 18:36 says, nor in the context of a sublime high priest who is seen in Hebrews entering the veil with his own blood. So what is this prophesied priesthood of Melchizedek? First, it is only in the book of Psalms that it is quote-unquote foretold. This is a song and could very well be figurative. If it is literal, Isaiah 66:21 says that some from the nations will become Levites. Levites do not offer sacrifices, so that a priest after the order of Melchizedek should ever enter the holiest, especially with a sacrifice of his own blood, is blasphemy and paganism. At best, a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek would be a Levitical priesthood. Not Aaronic, it would be after the order of the Leviim, the Levites. they would not be Kohanim or priests like the sons of Aaron. And only a Kohen after the priesthood of Aaron can become a Kohen Gadol, or a high priest, and only a high priest can enter the holiest. And only a Kohanim, or priests, can offer sacrifices. By offering sacrifices, I'm referring to the actual act of burning them in the tabernacle. Sorry, just to clarify. Okay. Now, Hebrews also says that Melchizedek blessed Abraham, which makes him superior to Abraham. By that token, Balaam was better than the entire nation of Israel, because he blessed them in Numbers chapter 22 to 24. Laban was better than the 12 patriarchs, because he blessed them in Genesis 31:55. Deborah was better than Jael, because she calls Jael the greatest of women. So does that make Deborah a man? Judges 5:24. David blessed Abigail in 1 Samuel 25:33. There are more examples of greaters blessing lessers. Look them up. So that shoots Hebrews 7:7 that says, without all contradiction, the lesser is blessed of the greater. In regards to Melchizedek being better than Levi, Judah was also in the loins of Abraham when Melchizedek met him. So if that makes Melchizedek better than Levi, it makes him better than Judah. And Hebrews 7:14 says that Jesus is from Judah. Maybe look for a non-Jewish savior, Christians. On Hebrews 7:14 to 15, this is a classic example of Christian circular logic. Because Jesus is from Judah and Judah isn't priestly, therefore, because we know Jesus is a priest, we must make that happen through someone. How about Melchizedek? The writer of Hebrews goes on to say that the Levitical priesthood was set up without an oath. Read Exodus 40, verse 15, Numbers 25, verses 10 to 13, and I want to read to you from Ezekiel 40, verses 44 to 46. There were chambers for singers in the inner forecourt, one beside the north gate facing the south, and one beside the east gate facing the north. The man explained to me, the chamber that faces the south is for the priests who perform the duties of the temple, and the chamber that faces the north is for the priests who perform the duties of the altar. They are the descendants of Zadok, who alone of the descendants of Levi may approach the Lord to minister to him. This is in the prophesied last temple. Only the sons of Zadok may become Kohanim, or priests. There is a difference between a priest and a Levite. There is a difference between a priest, a Levite, and any other priesthood that may exist in the world. For example, a priesthood after the order of Melchizedek. The priesthood after the order of Melchizedek is not allowed to approach the Kodesh, or sanctified, or holy area of the temple. Never. So to say that a priest after the order of Melchizedek entered the holiest is blasphemy. There's more stuff to say on the passage, but I think I'm going to do other videos to that. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave your comments. I'm sure that this one is very, very upsetting for those Christians out there that watch my videos. Go ahead and leave your comments. I'll get back to you.